After an uncomfortable overnight, shaken and stirred train journey, our next stop was Jaipur, and a lovely heritage hotel or Haveli, on the surface at least, but poor service from what may well have been illegal immigrants. Our first stop was the renowned Temple of the Winds, Hawa Mahal, a curious structure of pinkish terracotta-ish clay with white. We saw the interior first, and were horrified at its decaying and vandalized state. However, when we saw the outside, the well-known view, we were very impressed. It was here that the ladies of the royal court would spectate unseen. Later we visited the royal mausoleums, which were very impressive and grandiose, conveying a sense of peace and tranquility. We saw the space reserved for the last queen, whose son is not regarded by the people as a proper Maharaja, according to our taxi driver, who rather fancied himself as a guide. The highlight of our day was the Amber Fort. Unfortunately, we were too late to ride upon an elephant, so slogged up in the sun instead. A feast of terracotta buildings and some fine and delicate painting, carving and mirror work. Much of the building was under renovation, and it seemed to us that the women were labouring for the men, carrying basins of cement on their heads. We visited a temple dedicated to Kali, the goddess of destruction, and saw more fine carvings and more elephants. We encountered a group of older schoolchildren who seemed to find us very amusing, encouraged, we suspect, by their teacher. Back in the city, we visited the impressive observatory or Jantar Mantar, begun by Jai Singh in 1728. A collection of huge, bizarre sculptures, each of which had a specific purpose, such as calculating eclipses. Time was measured by the sun's shadow falling on the huge sundials, and its annual progress could be charted. The next day we visited Jaipur City Palace, an impressive ochre-coloured building, and saw fine textiles, costumes and decorations, and we had our photos taken with 2 turbaned attendants. In one of the halls we saw 2 huge solid silver vessels, the biggest silver vessels in the world, according to the Guinness Book of Records. There was a stall too selling colourful Indian puppets. We had lunch in the City Palace Cafe and suspected that the costumed young boy, who danced to the accompaniment of presumably his father, who sang and played wind and stringed instruments, was on drugs.